$70K. It's only visa. Okay, good afternoon, guys. So we'll just wait for another 30 seconds and then we'll start so that others can join us. So this is an information sharing section, and it's always very educative. If you know somebody who you think should be here, kindly invite them, send them the link and have them join. My name is Fokansin from the Visa Department here at Negxy Concept Limited. Today we're going to be talking about visa applications. So if you have somebody, a friend, your spouse, or anybody that you think should be here, please send them the link. They're really going to learn a lot. So yes, I'm going to be talking about visa applications today. So either you have gotten your CAS, or you are waiting CAS, or you have gotten an offer, you are trying to make your deposit, whatever stage that you're at in your student visa applications to the UK, the information I'm going to give today is definitely going to be very beneficial to you. So please just take note. And if you have any questions, you can drop them at the end of the session. I will take the questions. So if you have your questions, just drop them. I will answer at the end of the session. Once again, my name is Fokansin, and here at Negxy, I work in the visa department with a team of other brilliant minds to ensure that visa applications for our students are seamless and 100% guaranteed for the UK. So today we're going to be talking about how to avoid deniers, talk about the visa application process, how to avoid deniers and visa delays as regards your student visa applications for you and for your dependent. So like I said, it's possible that you are here, you've not even gotten your CAS, or you've not gotten you've gotten offer, you've not gotten CAS, or you've gotten your CAS, you're waiting to put in your application. Please just listen and take note of this of this information that I'll be giving out today. So now, I usually say this every time I come here, that your visa fee is not refundable. You are paying a fee to the UKVI that is not refundable, and then you cannot get the time back. So it is always very important that once you are putting in a visa application, you put in all the necessary precautions and ensure that your application is granted. Especially at this stage where there are a lot of changes, we're expecting a lot of changes as regards visa application, the fees, dependent journey. You have to get it right. It is very important. And your fees, if there is a refusal, is not refundable, and it is not small money. It's a lot of money. So why not just do it once and get it right at once and for all? So yes, it is possible for you to have gotten your offer, you've gotten CAS, and yet your visa can be denied. So the fact that the school has given you an offer and you have paid deposits, you've gotten your CAS, does not automatically guarantee that your student visa will be issued or you'll be given student visa. You need to still, meet the UKVI requirements for them to give you your visa. CAS is not visa, and CAS alone, having your CAS alone, does not guarantee your visa. Do you understand? So don't say, oh, I've gotten admission, I've paid my deposits, I've gotten CAS. What could possibly go wrong now with my application? A lot of things could go wrong that could lead to a visa refusal, which we don't want for you, especially because you don't have the time for that, and then the fees that you're going to pay. Imagine if you have a family and then you are paying visa fee for everybody and the visa is denied. It's a lot of money, and the psychological stress is even worse. So yes, like I said before, we'll be talking about some reasons for visa deniers, how to avoid delay, and strategies to get your visa granted in this September intake. So one of the reasons why visas are denied is when you have incomplete documents. So there are documents that are needed for your visa application. I may not be able to really talk about all the documentations again today, but if you go back and watch some of our Instagram lives, we've already mentioned the documents that are needed for your visa application as they are peculiar to you, either for you or for your dependents. There are documents needed. There are required documents. There are compulsory documents that you must put in with your application. And if you do not put in this document or you miss out on any of these documents, it could lead to a refusal. So when you're putting in your visa application, you need to ensure that your documents are complete. If we still have time by the time I'm done with the information I have here, I can mention just mention some of these documents that you need to apply for your visa, for your student visa, either for you and for your dependents. Another reason, like somebody sent me a refusal letter yesterday, and the refusal was because the POF, the bank statement, did not contain the required amount of money. So if you're applying to the UK for your student visa, there is a required amount of money that you need to have in your account for a particular period of 28 days. So there is a calculation to do that. I discovered that when we come here and we do the calculation, the general calculation, it can get so confusing. So you can reach out to us if you need help with that. So it's not just for you to just put an amount in your account. You have to put a calculated amount that will be enough for either you or for you and your dependent, as the case may be. So this person reached out, and the visa was denied because the person did not have enough money in the account. This person is going to have to start all over again. The person has lost the visa fee, which is non-refundable, and this person has also wasted time. And it can be very challenging. Honestly, it's not a very easy thing when you have a refusal history with the UKVI. So there is a required funds that should be in your account for the period of 28 days. There's a way the bank statement should be. It should be signed and stamped. It should be correctly dated. Sometimes some people request for a bank statement from the bank, and once they get the bank statement, they just put in the application. You need to confirm the details. I've seen it before. I asked somebody to send me a bank statement for 28 days, 29 days actually. And by the time the person sent it, it was just 5 days. So this is not what the person requested for from the bank. He requested for a 28 days bank statement. But so that your bankers will not be your own village people, please, when you request for your bank statement, ensure that you check, is it signed and stamped? Is it for the period that you have requested for? And hope all the pages are there. It's not missing out on any page. So you have to check this information because the bank statement is the major requirement for your application. Now, there is a rate that the UKVI uses to calculate POF. The issue that this person had, the person I mentioned that sent me this refusal letter yesterday, the issue that they had was at the start of the bank statement, they used a particular rate. And before the end of the 28 days, this rate had gone up, but they didn't factor that. They just went ahead with the application like that. So the UKVI is going to use the rate, the Oanda rate. Oanda is OANDA. That is the official rate that the UKVI uses to check your bank statements, because most times you are using a Naira account and the calculation is in pounds. So how do you convert to Naira? There is a website where you do that conversion, except you are using maybe a pounds account that you don't need to convert. Excuse me. So they will not use the rate at the date you started your POF from. So if you're accounting from say 30th of June, they will not use the rate as at 30th of June. They will use the rate as at the day you are making your application. So you have to be sure, you have to check, and that is why we are here. These are the things that we look at for in students' application. You don't just okay, as at the date the POF started, this was the rate, and that is what you are going to use. You have to be checking per time, and that is why when we are advising our students, we advise, even schools advise students, when you are making plans for your POF, ensure that you used a rate that is higher than what is obtainable on the Rwanda website. If you use the exact rate, it fluctuates. And by the time the 28 days is completed, you may see that the rate has gone up and it will affect the POF. You cannot go ahead to use it like that. You have to start all over. So that is one of the reasons why they refuse visa application. Some people don't get the calculations right. There are calculations for if your school is inside London, if your school is outside London. There are calculations for if you have dependents, let's say 1 or 2. So these things are very technical, and it requires that you speak to somebody that knows about it for you to get it right, so that you don't make mistake. So yes, I may not be able to really give out all the calculation thing here because of our time, and so that it doesn't get confused, because it varies per applicant. You can reach out to us for us to help you with the calculation that is obtainable at this time. Now, another reason for refusal is inability of the UKVI to verify your bank statement. You have submitted a bank statement, you have uploaded it with your application. They will want to verify the account. So if they are not able to verify it, it will lead to a denial. So yes, that is why really there are not really any banks per se that I can say, oh, you can't use this bank or you can't use that bank. But there are some banks that we don't usually advise students to use. I can't mention them here. You can reach out to us, so that when the UKVI reaches out to your bank, these are banks that over time we know they respond, and the UK is able to verify your account. We've had issues with banks, with students using banks that UK were not able to verify. These banks are legit banks, commercial banks, that the UKVI were not able to verify the account, and let a refuser. They will not even reach out to you before they refuse you, and then it leaves you in a dilemma. You've lost your fee, you've wasted time, and there is no time. This is September. The next intake is January. By January, we don't know the kind of changes that would have come up. So we are trying to make sure that if you have gone ahead and you have planned for this September, let it be that it's possible that you were actually able to travel and commence your studies in September. You won't have to defer because of a visa refusal. It's very bad that, oh, you have the funds, you pay your deposit, and everything that was needed is intact, except that your visa was denied, and then you have to now move your application to January. So please ensure that the bank the bank statement you're submitting is with a bank that the UKVI can verify. Another reason for refusal that we see often, especially with dependents, is if you are traveling with your dependent, say spouse, you need to show proof of relationship. So especially if it's a recent marriage, you can recently get married and you want to travel with your spouse, it's fine, but you need to really prove that the relationship you have is genuine and has been in existence even before the marriage. So we look at the marriage certificates, and then some other documents like the pictures, charts, anything to show that before you got married recently, you had an existing relationship. Not being able to prove this may lead to a refusal for your dependent. And you know that with the changes that UKVI is making concerning dependents, it will not really make sense for them to be denied visa at this time. So please, if you're traveling with your spouse and it's a recent marriage, ensure that you have enough proof of relationship. It's very for someone that has been married like 5 years ago. That's why sometimes I say you cannot really give you all the information that you need here on Instagram, because each person have their own peculiar case. Do you understand? So some people have been married for 10 years, 15 years, they've had kids together. You can't compare it to someone that got married last month or 2 months ago, which is fine. You can get married 2 months ago and you want to travel with your spouse to the UK, but then you need to show to the UKVI that you are truly married, you have a genuine relationship together. And one of the reasons you can show that is by having pictures. And the pictures are not just your wedding pictures you had during courtship. I tell my clients, the older the better when you're talking about pictures to show proof of relationship. Don't say, oh, it's throwback. The throwback is what they even really want. So the older the better, your your WhatsApp chat, the old ones, you put them together to just show that, okay, before we got married 2 months ago or last month or a week ago, we are genuinely married. So those are the major reasons why visa applications are denied, and it can be avoided. That is what I have discovered. A denial can be avoided. A refusal. Somebody was asking me if it's the same thing to be denied or refused. So it's the same thing. A denial or a refusal can be avoided. It is something that can be avoided. So just please, if you have questions, ask. If you need help, reach out to us. Don't assume something will fly that would now later cause trouble. Please don't put in your application when you are not sure. Reach out to, you are just going to fill your own application form for yourself. This is what we have been doing for years and for a lot of students. So we have the experience that is needed. We've worked with a lot of students. We know what to do and what not to do to ensure that you get your visa. So please reach out to us. And it doesn't matter if you have on your own gone ahead to get your offer or even get your CAS. This is visa application we are talking about. So even if you have done that on your own, you can still reach out to us for us to help you put in a visa application that will get you your visa. So yes, like I said, CAS is not enough. Getting admission or offer is not enough. Your visa, the journey is not complete until you have your visa. So that is why you have to ensure that your documents are complete. Please, if you have your questions, just drop them. I'll pick them up as I go. Yes, so another reason that can lead to visa denial is if you are applying late. If you are not able to meet up with your course start date, your visa will be denied. This is you are an international student and you have a deadline. If your deadline is 20th of September and the school did not give you an extension, if for any reason you put in a late application that was not, that the feedback, you did not get feedback by that 20th of September, your visa will be refused. And it doesn't matter if it's a day or 2 days after. As long as the UKVI says that you're not able to meet up with your deadline, there is no, and the school did not give you an extension, your visa will be denied. So please, if you have already gotten your CAS, please reach out to us. Even if you have some other pending documents, reach out to us and let us know how we can help with the process so that it is faster. Because if you don't meet up with the timing, it doesn't matter how much you have paid as your deposit. It doesn't matter if you have paid all your tuition, your visa application will be denied. So yes, I will now give us some of the tips to avoid visa delays. Visa application originally takes 3 weeks. That is the standard processing time for your UK student application is 3 weeks. Now, it could take lesser if they have fewer applications. For people that apply early, if you, like as at June, we had applications coming out in 5 days, 7 days. That is not the norm. It doesn't mean that will continue. It just meant that they had fewer applications at that time. But now that we are getting to the peak period where we have more students getting cards and putting in application, you can expect that your application will take 3 weeks or probably more. It all still depends on the number of applications that they are dealing with at that time. But I'm going to give us some of the tips that we can use to avoid delay from our part. There's really little that you can do. Really, there's really little that can be done, but there are some things, few things that can be done so that on your own end, you don't add to the delay. Now, because you don't have so much time, this is August already. Most schools are resuming in September. Only few schools have given an extension till October. Only few schools. And even if you have an extension, you want your visa to come out early enough for you to make travel plans. If you're traveling with your family, for you to be able to do some things and get ready to travel. So yes, it is the earlier the better. If the visa comes out early enough, it helps you to plan for your travel. So it's better. Yeah, so one of the tips to avoid visa delays is when you're sending documents, ensure that your documents are properly scanned. Okay, before I go into that, there are some services that can help fast track your student visa applications. Now, I mentioned that it takes 3 weeks for it to be out. That's the standard time, even though it could be lesser or more, depending on the volume of application. But you can pay for a fast track service that is called priority and super priority. Those are extra charges on your part. You pay to the UKVI for them to fast track your application. They put it at the front of the queue and attend to it. So we call it priority or super priority. Excuse me. The priority visa costs an extra £250 if you are going for priority. £250, and it takes 5 working days. If you at this point, if you are going for study and you are putting your application now, that is what is advised, so that your application can come out on time and you can plan for your trip. So yes, it's £250 for the main applicant. Yeah. It takes 5 working days for your visa to be issued. That can also help you get a decision on time. There's super priority of £956. That takes 24 working days. So those are the services that the UKVI has put in place for your visa to be out on time. Apart from that, another bottleneck that students usually encounter at this time that could delay their application is getting an appointment date for biometrics, because the waiting period will start counting from the day you go for your biometrics, not the date you pay your visa fee, not the date you started filling your application form. No, but from the moment you attend an application center, either in Abuja, Lagos, I learned that there is a new one in Port Harcourt now. It is from that day that they will start counting, the waiting period starts. So those are the services that they have put in place for you to be able to get a response fast post your biometrics date. Now, as I was saying, the dates available, sometimes when you complete your application form, you've made payment, you may not get a close date at the application center. Now, these application centers, they have some services that if you pay for, will help you get a closer date. There are a lot of it. It could be that you need to pay for the premium lounge, which is 43.5. I cannot just spell everything out here. So yes, you just have it at the back of your mind that you may have to pay for some of the services at the visa application center, which is TLS, that is in Abuja, Port Harcourt now, and then Lagos, for you to be able to get a fast date. So if you are looking for getting a close date, we have the premium lounge of 43.5. We have prime time of 38.5. Those are some of the services that you can pay for, or assisted service. If you need clarity on that, you can also reach out to me so that I can put you through. You can reach out to me, you can reach out to my colleague. You can just send us a DM so that I can put you through on how that will help you get a closer date for biometrics. And yes, you can then decide to opt for this priority or super priority package from the UKVI. Now, I've seen people that paid for priority, and because they didn't have the correct document, they didn't upload the right document. It doesn't work that way with UKVI. If there is a need for you to send an additional document, if they need to get back to you to get any feedback from you, it doesn't matter how much you have paid for it. Am I still? So yes, okay. So it doesn't matter how much you have paid. Your application will be delayed by the time the UKVI is reaching out to you to get additional documents from you. So yes, you need to put in your documents, all complete documents, correctly scanned. I'm not seeing questions, so please, you guys should drop questions for me if you have questions. Is it that everything I'm saying is clear? If you have any questions, please just drop them. If there are any things I've not been able to touch and you want to confirm, please just drop your questions. I'll answer them. So yes, if your document is not properly scanned, maybe a blurry document can lead to a delay in your visa application. Incomplete documents can also lead to a delay in your visa application. And then there was another thing that I didn't mention. One of the reasons why people have denial or even a ban is by the time they are given inconsistent information about their visa application. And this is majorly for people who have had a previous visa application to the UK, whether or not the application was granted. So if you have applied to the UK before, whether it was refused or it was granted and you were able to travel, you need to ensure that some of those informations are consistent, especially as pertains to your employment. Because now when you are putting in your application, you need to provide proof of employment to show what you have been doing between when you had your last when you completed your last program till now. So yes, you need to provide employment details. It has to be consistent with what you had before if you have applied to the UK before, whether or not you got the visa. So those are some of the reasons why visa can get denied. By the time you have provided, oh, last year you applied, you said you worked in company A, and then this year you are applying, and then you are not saying that as a last year I worked in company Z, which is not correct. So you have to ensure that if you have had any application history with UKVI, your information are consistent. That will help you avoid the refusal. So because of we still have time and I don't have questions, I'll just mention some very important documents that you need. My network is very bad. Sorry about that, but can you guys hear me now? So yes, if you are just joining, I've been talking about some of the reasons why visa applications get denied and how to avoid visa delay at this time, especially because we do not have so much time again. Most schools are resuming next month, and this is already August. Application takes 3 weeks, but I've been able to give us some of the tips that can help, fast track the application process, like getting an earlier biometrics date and or paying for the UKVI services to fast track, and then also putting in complete document, because by the time they request for additional documents, it will delay your application further. Complete, properly scanned documents will also help you avoid delays. So somebody is saying, do you guys charge for the visa application? If you are our student, we do not charge you for visa application. Yes, so if we helped with the admission process, we do not charge, but if not, we have a fee, a token that we charge for visa application. I call it a token because the services that you will get is worth more than the services that you will get for it. So yes, we charge for that. You can reach out to get more information about that. And if I finished application, how long will it take to go for biometrics? So it depends on the date that is available at the biometric center. When you are done with your application, you have filled your form and you have made payment for your visa and IHS, you proceed to the application portal, the visa application portal, to book a date. So it is the date available that will determine when you go for your biometrics. But like I said, there are some services they have at the application center that can help you get a closer date if you are willing to pay. It could be like 43.5 for the premium lounge, or for prime time. Those are some of the things that you can pay for that can help you get a closer date. But that is actually beyond our own control. It is totally dependent on the application center and the dates that they have available. Please, I need your phone. Okay, please just send a DM and request that you want to speak with Fokansin or FK. If you can remember FK or Fokansin, you'll be directed to me. Can people with previous UK deny apply for priority visa? Yes. I saw somebody who was denied a student visa, but the reason was just because the person didn't pay the correct IHS fee. The person was denied, and the person will apply for a super priority because there was no time and it was still that same intake the person wanted to apply for. So yes, but the person got another CAS from the school for that same intake, because once you are denied, you can't use your CAS. You need to request for another CAS. The person got another CAS and paid for super priority because there was no time. And yes, the reason sometimes they advise that if you have been denied is if you have any issue. Do you get? Because paying for priority does not mean that your issue will not be revisited. So if you've had previous denial, reach out to us and let us check the reasons and weigh your chances of getting a student visa. how much do you charge? Please send a DM to us. We will tell you our package and the services that we render and how much we charge for each. Yes, so let me just quickly touch some of the very important documents that people do not usually know of. Most people know that, oh, if I'm applying for visa, I need my degree certificate, I need WAEC, if I use the WAEC. But then UK now asks for work references, employment details. It is not because they want to know how much you earn. That is not the, because some people, when I tell them, oh, I need your employment details for the past 3 years that you've left school, or 4 years, they are, how much do I earn? So it's not really because they want to know where you work or how much you've earned for that period. It's just because they want to know what you have been doing since you left school, since you finished your first degree. You're not going for a master's. Whatever gap you have, you need to be able to show. It may not be for the entire period, but for a considerable period that you've been engaged, you've been in a job, or you own a business. So if you own a business, yes, you can provide your business document. If you've been working in an employment, you provide your employment letter. Either if it's the same job, one employment letter. If you've changed job since, you could get the employment letter for the previous job, a reference letter for. So it just depends on the number of years that you've been away from school for. So that is what they need. They want to see what you have been doing. So people own businesses, some people have been working. If you've done a program afterwards, just provide these details. These are the things that they need basically. It's not because they want to know how much you earn. Please, is it after the biometrics one pay for the priority fee? No. Once you go for your biometrics, you can no longer pay for your priority for priority service. Sorry. So this decision to pay for priority comes before your biometrics day. Once you attend an application center for biometrics, you can no longer pay for priority. So if you have an application already with UKVI, then you just pray that it comes out on time. You can't pay for priority at this stage. So you have to decide, if you have not put in your application, whether or not you want to use that service and pay for it online before going to the application center. Started business since graduating university. Somebody is asking that you started business since you graduated. What documents for self-employed person? So if you have a business, it must be a registered business, because you will need the certificate of registration. You also have to check that it is active on the CSC website. There's a way to check. You can reach out. Yes, because it's possible to have a registered business that is inactive. So yes, it has to be operational. You have to confirm that on the CSC website it is active before you'll be able to go ahead to use the the business document. So what they basically need is the certificate of registration to show when it was registered, and it has to be active on the CSC website. Okay, so talking about the document, like I already said, if you have any study gap, in fact, before now it was if you finish in 2001, you may not ask, but now they're asking. So if you finish 2021, sorry, 2021, for example, you possibly saved. If you saved, your NYSC certificate can cover, say, from 2022 up to now, to show that, oh, you saved for that 1 year. So yes, please, if you have any study gap, if you finish your program, anything outside last year, you need to provide the employment document, because if you don't provide, they are going to ask for it. And once they ask for an additional document, it delays your application, and you don't want that. Please note this when you are putting in your application. Once again, I will say that this is not the time to get a refusal. Please, this is not the time to get a refusal. You are close to your resumption date. Getting a refusal, you are probably going to miss out on this September intake. By January, we don't know what is going to happen. What we know is that, oh, you won't be able to go with your dependent. Other things can still come up, that will not really go well with you if you are not able to go with this intake. So if you are the person, or you have somebody, please just tell them, is there anything you're not sure, please reach out to Negxy Concept Limited. You can ask that you want to speak with Fokansin. Let's guide you through the process of visa application through the filling of the form, because that's where it starts from. Filling of the form, making payments, making sure that you are paying the right fees, because that can also lead to a denial. Please, if I didn't mention this, I'm mentioning it now. If you didn't pay the correct fee for IHS, for example, because the visa fee is a standard fee, but there is a calculation for the IHS that you're going to pay for. If you do not pay the complete IHS fee, it could lead to a denial. I know somebody that is affected, and the person had to start the application all over again, then had to pay £956 for super priority so that they could meet up with that intake, because there was no longer time. That's a waste when the thing could have been gotten right at it. So filling the application form, filled correctly. There are no misleading information. Their informations are consistent if you have applied before. That's all that will help you do. We help you make sure that the fee you are paying for IHS and visa are the correct fees. We help with the appointment booking, uploading correct documents, complete documents, clearly scanned documents, because all those things are very important. Clearly scanned documents. If your document is not clear enough, if it's blurry, it could lead to a delay in your application. So yes, if you need help, reach out to us. Like I said, it's not just, even if you have gotten offer, if you've gotten admission, you've gotten offer, you've gotten CAS, we can still help you put in your visa application. What if you have worked in 2 different places? Would you share both employment letters? Even if you have worked in 4 places, for example, if you've left school since 2004, it's possible that you've worked in multiple places, 3, 4 places. Please just provide any proof that you have from these organizations to say that you worked there. Either you have the employment letter, or you can get a reference, because sometimes when people say, oh, they don't have the employment letter, it's been a long time. You can reach out to the organization to give you a work reference saying that you worked there for from so period to so period. If you have the employment letter, you can make do with the employment letter without even reaching out for reference, because it's an old employment. Do you understand? So please, yes, you can put in as many as possible depending on the number of jobs that you have had. Must it be employment, word of other studies? Yes, any proof of employment or studies that you've had between that period. If you had your degree and then you've gone for another program before this, your master's, you can provide any proof at all. When they are requesting for this document, what they ask for usually is proof of employment or study that covers the gap that you have. FK, do I need to book to talk to you on WhatsApp? No, you don't need to book to talk to me on WhatsApp. Just send a DM and you'll be directed to me. To either call, you can call me, or you can chat on WhatsApp. So you don't need to book at all. How long should you be married before you can apply for a dependent visa? So there's no rule that says that you cannot apply for a dependent visa immediately you are married. Like I said earlier, you need to just provide proof of genuine marriage and pre-existing relationship that you have had with your spouse. So please let nobody tell you, oh, you have to have been married for like 5 years or 2 years. No, I've seen people who got married and they got married and traveled almost immediately, applied for their visa almost immediately. But then, like I said, you need a lot of documents. Reach out to us. Let's tell you all that you need to put in place so that they can confirm that your relationship has been in existence and is genuine. That's all they need to know. They are not concerned about whether or not your marriage is recent. Some people travel for studies, then come back to get married during the course of their studies and travel with their dependents. So yes, even if you married as a single person, if you apply for your study as a single person, you can get married during the course of your study and bring your wife or your husband. The basic thing, the major thing, and the most important thing is that you're able to prove to them that the marriage is genuine. So yes, I've mentioned the study gap. Those are some of the things that people do not know of that the UKVI now asks for. Please provide any proof of what you've been doing since. Even if you have not been doing anything, please reach out to us. Let's help you package the application that will fly through, and they won't ask for additional documents. Yes, so it's possible that you've not really been doing any job. Maybe you've had some trainings, you've not really worked in an employment. Just reach out if you've had any study gap that is more than a year. So if you are married and going with your family, it is also very important. You getting a visa does not guarantee that your dependents will get a visa. And you know how crucial this period is for dependents. Please, if you are going with your family, especially if you're going with your spouse and kids, please reach out to us. Let's help you package your application. Your visa does not automatically guarantee that they will be issued visa. We've seen students who got visa and their families were denied. There are documents for you to provide for your dependents, whether your spouse or your kids, if you're traveling with them. Please reach out to us. If you're going with your family, we charge a fee, yes, but it's worth it because your visa fee, the fees you are paying is not refundable, and then there is not even time for that. There's no room for refusal at this stage. Please reach out to us. Let's help you package your visa application. Please, if you have more questions, just drop them. If you want to know more about the documentation, please let's ask questions. Otherwise, please just send a DM to us and reach out to the visa department. Anybody would, people will answer. People are there to answer your questions and your concern. If we do not have more questions, that will be the end for today. Thank you once again for joining us. My name is Fokansin or FK, whichever one you are able to pronounce. Just reach out and ask to speak with Fokansin. We'll be there to help you. Thank you and bye.